2014 will be one of the most globally altruistic years in the history of mankind. We are at the turning point of economic, environmental, and sustainable living habits. As our global community reaches 8 billion people, our problems are getting bigger, not smaller. We need a global mindset more than ever. Currently, there are 1.5 billion people with smartphones in the world. Apps like Facebook and Twitter have revolutionized communication and rescued countless people from natural disasters and provided the bedrock for political transformations otherwise impossible. Egypt used smartphones to build a new government. Twitter has provided a voice that allowed for What if we told you we're making an app that could support all of these things? What if we could use these products to actually improve lives around the world? And not just help cultivate the world's biggest sector of entertainment. To use this trillion-dollar industry to make an impact not measured in downloads, but in lives. I'd like to introduce you to Wake Up World, an app that will forever change the way supporting humanitarian aid works. Wake Up World is an app so simple you don't even need to be fully awake to use it, because it's an alarm clock. Have a moment of honesty about how we all wake up in the morning. Who actually gets out of bed the first time their alarm sounds? Me? 2 snoozes? 3 snoozes? So what if every time you hit snooze, you could give a little change? First time you hit snooze, gives a pencil to a kid in India. Second time, a bottle of water in Kenya. Using micropayments and industry-standard charity ratings, we've made it easier than ever for you to decide how you want to help change the world. Want to give to education, gender rights, and medical care? Select from these categories and let us evenly divide your givings, or customize a preferred list of charities you'd like to support. Our goal is to incentivize giving through competition and peer pressure. Perhaps you might want to give to the sponsored charity today, which 5,000 other people in the Boston area have already given to. Or, depending on the variation, and our pending nonprofit status and personal work with charity partners, and only further emphasizes our scalability. The answer to global problems is not a single person giving billions, or a corporation vying for publicity. We also can't all be on the front lines. Wake Up World makes giving a daily habit, not a one-time donation. To make giving even easier, we color code charities depending on the ratings. Wake Up World combines the needs of nonprofit with the innovation modern technology is known for. Sometimes we don't need another company. We just have to organize what's already before us. The ultimate goal of Wake Up World is to educate and facilitate. It's time to retire the bell in the bucket. It's time to wake up. Thank you.
Thanks for being willing to be first. Are there any, you say that the preference of the user can choose the charity.
Mm-hmm.
So really any charity can be featured?
Not immediately, as we plan to release the app, will we allow you to pick any charity. That's pending some legal issues. However, we're in talks with multiple charities right now in multiple categories. So you can be able to select charities, or alternatively, you can just pick to give to education, and we'll give based on the ratings of the charities.
So the highest ranked education charity that's in your system would get the money if you just said, I want to give to that category.
Not the highest ranked one. We'll distribute it between multiple ones.
Okay.
How does peer pressure play into charity giving?
So the goal of peer pressure, and with regard to the app, is to be able, when the alarm goes off, if you see that 7,000 people in the Boston area have already given to a certain charity today, perhaps you want to give to them too. Basically, the goal of it is to show that currently there's no way to see who all is giving. It basically socializes charity. Many of us have downloaded an app just because our friends are using it. And so, it's peer pressure. Not necessarily a bad thing, it's just
Would the app charge a fee for advertising?
No. The goal is to essentially, with sponsored charities, we can charge charities for advertisement. And then all the money that you pay to the app, minus Apple's fee, would go to charities.
I have a question. It seems that like the effectiveness of the app, because you're giving such small amounts of money, would depend on how widely distributed or popular the app became.
Exactly.
Do you have a current plan or kind of idea on how you would make the app popular or?
General means, advertisement, things like that. It's very easy nowadays to advertise and publicize things, especially with Google. In addition to that, part of the reason we started contacting charities is they would allow us to be able to advertise, and they, I'm presuming if they want money, would advertise for us also. Yeah.
I'm curious, if I had this app, I think I'd be far more punctual when it comes to wake up in the morning. What if everyone uses this app suddenly doesn't press the snooze button anymore?
And we made the world a better place. I'm calling him bluff on that, though.
Have you thought about competition in the area? Because I've used an app like this already where it donates money based on how many times you snooze it. It does it through a website where you have an account and every time you snooze that, it's 25 cents.
Actually, to be honest with you, we've probably done more look into the present status quo of stuff like this than we have actually into our own app. And partially because we think everybody else has done it wrong. Who knew there was a website before YouTube called Share Your World? You know, who still uses MySpace? You know, it's not about who particularly does it or the competition, it's about doing it correctly. And we think providing things like charity ratings and simple color codes so that you can be able to tell what charities are objectively good would provide the thing that we need to make it different.
Have you thought about how long it might take to make this a sustainable venture?
Well, fortunately, keeping it in the App Store costs $100 a year. So in terms of sustainable, really the only thing we need to pay for would be current development. As far as that goes, realistically, we don't need a lot of things that normal people need in a venture. And so, in terms of sustainability, technically it's already sustainable. That said, as it grows and we integrate things like dealing with charities more, it might provide or need some more thought into at least the size it grows into. So.
Just a quick question. Do you mind just explaining what each of your team members has contributed?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
curious, kind of how your team works.
So there's 4 members on our team. Ryan Groff, he works over at the CFI. James Cassell right here, and then Chris Blatchley. James Cassell is our user interface guy. He basically is a genius at anything designed with user interfaces, and to be honest, is probably what could make this app really work. Chris Blatchley and I are the 2 developers on the project, and so we're chugging away on the app, seeing what we can come up with and continuing to develop. And Ryan Groff is kind of the organization behind the whole thing, in the sense that he's kind of our eye in the sky and provides an objective means of organizing and evaluating the whole project.
Thank you. Thanks again for being willing to be first.